What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoundHound. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoundHound did have a pretty strong close on Friday, as did majority of the market because of Powell. It is fair to assume that that good momentum is going to carry forward into this upcoming week until we start hitting some of the key data points. So Monday is going to be more of a reflection day on everything that has happened over the last week and a half. Last week honestly was a absolute bipolar week for the broader market. A lot of people like to use the term now, I guess, kangaroo market, up, down, sideways. It's definitely very crazy, but then again, for those investors that have been in SoundHound for the last 2 months, that's pretty much a normal day in general. But this upcoming week, Tuesday, you have JOLT numbers. Then you have on Wednesday, CPI, PPI on Thursday. And then you have also the Michigan Consumer Sentiment preliminary. So as far as that data point, that's actually what started all of the inflationary fear. So you had the FOMC minutes, then you had Walmart earnings, then you had the Michigan Consumer Sentiment. All that really started to fuel the market's fear. So again, a lot of these data points could really escalate things, or if they come in better than anticipated, you could see a very positive push higher. So again, definitely stay tuned for a lot of those data points. Specific to SoundHound, the only thing that is going to be coming out is that they're going to be participating on March the 11th at the Cantor Global Tech Conference in New York. So this is going to be an early one, so 8:20 a.m. Pacific and then 11:20 Eastern. So I think in general that should be good. I don't anticipate any new information being kind of disclosed here, rather just going over the recent earnings, their future guidance, and kind of things that they have stated. But nonetheless, I think that is going to be good. A lot of these fireside chats usually cause SoundHound to really move higher, so that again could be something to add to your watch list as far as that goes. But shorts have been a little bit of a pain. So even on Friday, they did increase 855,000 shares. 29.26% of the free float is being shorted currently, so that's what we're going into this upcoming week with. 103.28 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost of our average is 4.74, and then as well utilization is 87.31. Through IBKR though, there's only 80,000 shares available. So this is where you did see a lot of abnormal kind of situations happen, because throughout last week you had a lot of times when it was like there was no shares available, and then of course it just pops up to, let's say, 700,000 or whatever else, and that means big money is buying it. So most likely it is fair to assume that big institutions such as BlackRock, Vanguard, and many of the other big names will be buying SoundHound just to lend out. So that'll add some buying pressure, and if you couple that with a lot of the data points that's coming out this week, you could see a nice push higher. As far as the options though, so from the options that was done on Friday, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $11 range for this upcoming week, and then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub 9. So definitely a little bit more upside is anticipated. This is the open interest, so with it closing at $9.68, that does mean that the 2000 at the 9.50 and then 2000 at that 9 is in the money. So you won't see any crazy spike come Monday because of that, but that's a little bit of shares that market makers do have to cover. So again, that's kind of a good thing. But even looking forward into this week, there isn't any crazy strong walls. So meaning shorts won't try to manipulate SoundHound below any of these key strike prices. One thing to take note of though, the following week, so ending March the 21st, you have 32,000 at that 12. So if SoundHound does start to build some pretty good momentum, you might have shorts tentatively already starting to kill SoundHound's momentum to ensure it does stay below 12, but that might happen more at the end of the week. So something to keep in mind. But with it at $9.74, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So $8.87 is going to be that kind of strong support that you'll really want to watch for it to hold. And when it has been tested, it's been kind of the saving grace. So just watch for 887. So if you're a value investor, that might be where you want to place some bid orders. But aside from that, $11.97 followed by 1506 are going to be the next strong target / resistance points. Bulls are anticipating for it to close above that pivot point. So as far as the technicals go, I think SoundHound's ready to finally push higher. Of course, take that with a grain of salt. A lot of big data points could come out, and in general, you never know. This week we could have a reiteration of tariff talks. So you might have just like tariffs just being brought up once again. China data that came out Friday or Thursday evening was very positive. So I think Trump didn't really like that. This is why on Friday he did state that tariffs could be increasing soon. He didn't state which actual country that was oriented towards, but it is fair to assume China. So yeah, anything is possible. I think, yeah, it's a fun time under the Trump administration. So tariffs seem to be a hot topic. Market doesn't like it all that much. So that could add a element of volatility. But going into this upcoming week, $9.80, that is going to be that ALMA, so a key point to get over early on in the week. 828 is going to be that 200-day moving average, so that's going to be a very strong support below this point right here that I did bring up of 887. And then aside from that, though, you do have this, so the 100-day moving average, which was a pretty big deal for SoundHound. So essentially you could see that being touched. So the bulls are anticipating, based on the options activity, for it to be above that. So that's $11.82 for this upcoming week. And if you are one of those individuals that likes to believe in the gap needs to be filled. This right here, the big drop because of NVIDIA and all that crap, if you do believe in it, then essentially that does mean that at least in the foreseeable future, you could see around that 1350, so mid to high 13s coming in the sooner rather than later. So let me know your thoughts on SoundHound. I think as far as the data points, I'm cautiously optimistic for this week. So meaning that you could see a nice push higher. Market might be somewhat very greedful. That's obviously a made up word. I like to make up words on occasion, but you guys get what I'm saying. Institutions will be looking for value plays out there, stocks that are very just oversold, which SoundHound hits that criteria. And like I said, even though it did go down quite a lot recently because of the whole NVIDIA news, like, it still boggles my mind. People were willing to buy it, as well as institutions, at that 18, 19, like all the way up to like $24. It had buyers. But as soon as that news came out, then the stock just tanked. It just doesn't logically make sense. So in my opinion, I think that there is going to be a nice push higher. It just needs, like, the market is waiting for something, some confirmation, a nice push from a data point. And one of these, whether it be, let's say, CPI or even jolt numbers, that might be that good catalyst that the market needs to really just push stocks back to where they were a couple months ago. Or you never know, maybe they do drop some pretty good news here. They just couple this actual fireside chat with an 8K, then they're free to bring up anything that they want. So let me know your thoughts on SoundHound. Where do you think it is going to be by the end of this week or just in the next couple of weeks? And what have you been doing? Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been generally doing with SoundHound? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.